Okay, welcome everyone to another episode of Eat, Sleep, Drive, and I am on Angela's Crest in Southern California in a very red C7 Corvette. I'm doing some visiting here in Southern California and figured it would be a good idea to rent a C7 because why not? It's a nice day, it's a nice sunny day, it's a little cooler here in LA, but we are going to take this thing for a spin and see what it's all about. Now, I haven't spent a ton of time in C7 Corvettes, so I'm very curious to take this thing for a ride. It is a rental, so it is a little bit tired, as you can expect. It's had a pretty rough first 14,000 miles, and it is a Sunday morning up here, so there are a decent amount of people on the road. I'm looking for a little bit of a clearing in the traffic here so we can take this thing around.
Yeah, it is. 51 seconds.
We'll go into manual mode. And of course, besides the red color, the first thing that you'll notice about the C7 Corvette is the wonderful engine. So much power, so much power. So much torque everywhere. I come from a GT350. That's what I own, and I adore that car, but it is admittedly down a little bit on torque, and that is something that this car is definitely not lacking. Put your foot down, any gear, any RPM, and it goes. Now, this is an automatic Corvette, obviously, because it's a rental, really. Now, you know, no one that's renting these cars is going to rent you a manual transmission car because, number one, not too many people can drive manuals anymore, and number two, would you want someone else just destroying your clutch? There's a couple rocks on the road here, so I'm gonna have to stay alert. So yeah, it's an automatic. Now, if you guys saw my previous video, the first car I rented out here was a Porsche Cayman GTS, or a 718. That was also an automatic, but it had PDK. And the difference in the gearboxes is nothing short of night and day. Yeah, I mean, Porsche's PDK is just about the best in the business, and this 8-speed gearbox is far from it. It's relatively smooth, which I think is good. Still not as smooth as a PDK. It is slow to respond. Very, very slow to respond. And which way am I going here? I guess I'm going to go straight. Continue straight. I will say, you know, just in contrast, because it's fresh in my mind, the Cayman's on center feel and turn-in was actually better than this. Don't get me wrong, this is still really good. But once again, this is a rental car. It might be a little bit tired. This car doesn't give me as much confidence as the Cayman, but the Cayman's about as good as you can get, in my opinion, in the handling department. And this is still really good. This car is definitely faster than the Cayman. The Cayman is fast, don't get me wrong, but this thing is pretty crazy. In many ways, actually, I kind of feel it's somewhat similar to the Cayman because I love low sports cars like this because you look out over the hood and you have the bulges for the fenders, and it just kind of gives you like a hunkered down feel. But I will say that the seating position is not amazing in this car. Like, I wish I could get lower. The seat's as low as I can go, but I don't feel like I'm really that low. And in something like a Corvette, like, that's kind of unacceptable to me. I think a lot of that has to do with, you know, really the people that primarily buy these cars are just like old dudes. So you kind of have to cater to that audience. It would be extremely hard for them to get out of a even lower seat, even lower seating position. Like getting out of the Cayman is a bit of a struggle. Even I'm not like an old dude. I'm not a young dude, but I'm not an old dude. It is a bit of a struggle. And in this car, it's pretty easy to get in and out of. So once again, kind of appealing to their target audience, but it does feel like a bit of a compromise in that regard. Now, as far as the suspension goes, it is very well sorted. It's very compliant, actually, and I'm having no problems with like brake dive or anything, or it just kind of wallowing about in the corners. It's super planted and a good compromise of comfort and sport. I really, really dislike cars that are super, oh, look at this, Mr. Prius. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I really dislike cars that are just stiff for the sake of being stiff. Stiff is not always faster. And we've caught a Mini Cooper Countryman. But we can absolutely admire this wonderful road while we're behind here. But yeah, this transmission is just kind of, it's not real good. Expect a little bit more out of this car. I like the overall design of the interior. It's fine. Like, it's pretty much what I would expect out of a Corvette. You know, it's no secret that this is certainly better than the C6 is. Quite a step up. I mean, the C6 set the bar pretty low, so it was pretty easy for them to overachieve on this one. So it's decent. I mean, definitely the Cayman felt way more premium. I like the steering wheel better on the Cayman. Similar size, similar shape, but just had a nicer feel to it. I do like the center stack, how it points to the driver, obviously making it a very driver-centric car. It feels like a pretty good size. I definitely wouldn't want the Corvette to be any bigger than this. Like, it's not exactly a small car, and I'll show you guys a picture of the trunk. Like, there's actually a decent amount of storage. I mean, I put two carry-on bags back there, and there's plenty of room. And here's like a famous corner, I guess. I don't know. We can get it a little bit. Yeah, I think it really boils down to the Cayman has a little more steering feel. This is really good, but I don't have quite the confidence that I have in the Cayman. But this is still really good for the money, for sure. Oh, what the f*** is this thing doing? All right. That fine gentleman let us go, which is cool. And there's a bunch of enthusiasts here. Not sure what the significance of this corner is, but we're gonna try and not crash. Okay, so one thing that I really like about this car, as we can actually like push it a little bit here, now that I know the road a little better and there's no one in front of me, are these brakes, dude. These brakes are awesome. These brakes are so good. And this car is fast. God, these tires are a little bit shot, so I have to be kind of careful. They're like heat cycled the out. A lot of rocks on this road, a lot of debris. Yeah, the steering is really good. wet spots here. I mean, I feel a little bit bad because, the Cayman's fresh in my mind and I keep bringing it up, and I almost apologize for that. The Cayman just sets the bar so high. This is so good, don't get me wrong. I just kind of keep going back to that car, and when I think about for similar money, man, this thing is fast. So, if you want to go faster on a racetrack, you're going to buy this car. It's going to be faster than the Cayman. I think where I prefer the Cayman is just going to be in everyday use, as you would expect. It felt a little more special to drive, actually. This engine certainly sounds better than the Cayman, but the Cayman had a certain presence about it. And I think part of that is just as good as the Corvettes are, they're so ubiquitous. They're just everywhere. You see Corvettes everywhere, and that's because they're cheap. They're really good, and they're very fast, so everyone buys them, which is totally fine. But I think that's part of the reason why I kind of just tend to like the Cayman more, because it's just a little more special. And this is not this road is actually a lot rougher than I expected, but the suspension is friggin' awesome. I know I mentioned earlier that it's really good, but I'm really impressed with it. I do like the looks of this car too. I think it's a really good looking car, a lot of functional vents and whatnot. Overall, I think they pretty much nailed the styling. And I showed somebody the car last night, and they're not a car person at all, but they thought it was a Ferrari. I think probably just mostly because it was red and super low and everything, but it kind of cracks me up when you can fool some people. This is a wonderful road. I very much like this road, and I can see why there's a lot of enthusiasts here. I think it's no surprise that this car is just the classic Corvette formula, and I mean that in the best way possible. When you think about Porsche 911s and stuff, just how they just keep refining the same formula generation after generation. The Corvette is really just the same thing. Small, light, fast, powerful, affordable. That's everything this car is. And I think bringing that affordability, this speed to this price range, there's not too many cars that really do that anymore. And I like the fact that, they're still making the Corvette at a reasonable price. Now, they are going to make a mid-engine Corvette, but it will be interesting to see if they keep the front-engine one and just kind of offer two cars, because, that's what this car has always been about, is being affordable. I don't want them to outprice it or overprice it to the point where people that would typically buy this car wouldn't be able to afford it. So it would be interesting if they continue to offer both a front engine and a mid engine. And I really hope they do, because as good as a mid engine Corvette is going to be, and it will be better, it's going to be because of the platform, but there's still a place for a front engine Corvette in the market, and people will still buy it. You know what I mean? So I hope they keep making it. And overall, my thoughts on this car are pretty much as expected. It's a iconic name, and it lives up to expectations. Fast, fun, it looks good, it sounds good. Doesn't have a super exotic flavor to it. That's just something that you really can't put a number on. It just a feeling that you get when driving a car is if it feels special and exotic. It doesn't have that, like, exactly, but it is still a very, very cool car. And for the money, it's kind of hard to beat this thing, especially if you're going to go to the track. And you know you can just take it to the track and it will be super reliable. So, C7 Corvette, okay in my book. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. This is my first go at sort of a Matt Farah smoking tire one take. I don't want to call it a knockoff. I'll call it a tribute to him. I just figured while I was out here in the spirit of Southern California and cool driving roads, I would just kind of make a video in this sort of format. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I make a video once a week, every Friday morning. It's all kinds of things, car reviews, me modifying my car, all kinds of things. So if you enjoyed the video, check out some of my other ones and consider subscribing if you enjoyed it. And you can check me out on Instagram in between videos at Eat Sleep Drive TV. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode of Eat Sleep Drive.